Welcome to the 5th virtual office hours for the POSA Communications MOOC. We'll get started in just a second, as soon as a few people join. We'll start up in just a second here. Okay, so welcome to the 5th virtual office hours for the POSA Communications MOOC. Sorry we couldn't hold this on Friday. Unfortunately, we had a big snowstorm come through the area, and that caused the school to be canceled and the roads to be impassable. But fortunately, the sun has come out and the weather has improved and the snow has largely melted from the roads. So I'm back here at work. So what I wanted to do today was just sort of wrap things up. The main purpose of this virtual office hours is to answer any questions you might have. So if you have questions, feel free to type them in and I will address them. If there are no questions, or if there are a few questions, this will be a very short session because I had actually recorded my solution walkthrough for assignment number 3 during the snowstorm and had uploaded it last week. So that should be available on the website now in order to help people go ahead and do their peer assessment. Why don't we go over real quick, and I'll just sort of point out a few things on the website so that everybody will be in sync here with what needs to be done. Let's see, let's go find a web browser that we can use. Okay, so you should be looking at a web browser that's open to the website right now. Take a look, you'll see that, let's go over here to video lectures, and down here at the very bottom in week number 8 assignments is my solution walkthrough to assignment number 3. So please take a look at that. Keep in mind, of course, as always, that there's no need to have your solution be exactly like mine, but it needs to be able to fulfill the requirements that are mentioned in the specification and the requirements for the program. If you take a look over here, you'll see when the peer assignments are due. The peer assignments are due on the 31st of January, which is, gosh, just a little under a week away, so it's 6 days away. And so make sure that you've uploaded everything by that point. That would be fantastic so that everybody can get feedback. Once the assignments are uploaded, then we will be able to wrap up this MOOC, and that will start the grading process and the generation of the certificates as soon as the course is done. And that shouldn't take too long, knock on wood. we typically get our part done very quickly, and then it's up to Coursera to actually release the grades. So I have one question here. Could you please clarify why we have to take care not to run long operations on the UI thread for asynchronous services? So this is a topic that's covered at great length in the POSA Concurrency MOOC, so I recommend you go back and watch the videos from the first week of the POSA Concurrency MOOC. In fact, since we have a little time, let's go see if we can take a look at those, take a look at that website so you don't have to search around for this. You should see the POSA Communications website. Here's the POSA Concurrency website for the most recent class. If you go here, you'll see all the videos that we have. Some of them are pre-recorded, some of them were done in the class. And if you take a look through here, you'll see a bunch of different videos that talk about some of the issues. I think you probably want to take a look at concurrency motivations and concurrency challenges. These videos talk about some of the things that make concurrency hard, and they also motivate why we need to have concurrency in Android. So if you go back and watch those early videos, as well as all the videos, I strongly recommend you watch them. Also, make sure you watch the overview of Android concurrency frameworks video, the one that's down here. That'll explain more about Android's concurrency frameworks and why you need them. Basically, if you run things in the user interface thread that run for any length of time, where any length of time is, say, 3 to 5 seconds or so, you will get an application not responding dialog popping up, and the user will be given the option of shutting down the program. And the reason for that, of course, is that they don't want to be able to have things run in the UI thread. Okay, now there's a clarification. Let's see. Why do you not want to run the get current weather method? The other thing you can't do in the user interface thread is you can't run do networking calls in the user interface thread. So if you're doing anything that involves networking calls, you can't, by default, do those in the user interface thread. That's a problem. There are ways of getting around that by doing some tricks with strict type and policies, but I don't recommend you do that. Let's see. Person wants to know weather results stub get current weather method. I'm not really sure what the question here is. So the get current weather method, let's see. If that's the weather results, that's the call that's coming back. I'm not really sure. Let's see. That's probably the call that's being invoked by the service to send the results back to, let's see, back to the client application. You'll have to clarify what your question is. I don't really understand your question. But bottom line is that if things are being called by invocations using the AIDL generated code, then those things are run automatically by default in background threads, in the pool of threads that the binder framework allocates. So if I'm still not sure your question, but feel free to ask for clarification if you're not getting the answer that you're looking for. Okay, so what I want to point out here now is once you get done with this course, there's another course that's coming out, and this is going to be the POSA content course, and this will actually be running on the new Coursera platform, and that will start, I think, in about 2 weeks from now, something like that. I'll have to take a look. It's sometime in February, and that course will take a look at some of the topics we've covered in this course on communications, except we're going to be focusing now not so much on communications, which we covered in this course, in this MOOC, but in the next MOOC, we're then going to be covering topics related to storing data on the phone, so on the Android device, be it a phone or a tablet or whatever you're using Android for. So in that particular case, we'll be talking about how you can store information persistently, and the discussions, of course, will include things like putting information in files and/or putting information in content providers, which are backed most typically by SQLite databases. So that'll be the topics we'll cover next. That course is optional. You don't have to take that course if you don't want to. but and you can still do the specialization capstone as long as you meet the other requirements. When the specialization reboots again, which should be starting here shortly with the University of Maryland courses, then that material will be required. So you'll need to take it if you're going to be taking the specialization over for some reason. I should also mention that we're working on a specialization here at Vanderbilt that will be a new intro to Android development. For those of you who are in this MOOC, that's probably rather basic material, but there are a lot of people out there who have apparently struggled with the topics that we cover in our MOOC in the current mobile cloud computing with Android specialization. So we're creating a new specialization that'll be starting hopefully relatively soon. And the first MOOC is really going to be covering Java for Android. For people who need to understand how to program Java, we'll cover how to do that in the Android context. So it's a good way to learn some Java if you don't already know that. Again, I suspect if you're doing well on this MOOC, you've got enough Java experience to be able to be successful doing the topics that we're covering here. Okay, so I will wait a minute or two more to see if there's any other questions. As I said before, the purpose of this session was to answer questions people might have. If you don't have any questions, then we will wrap up here shortly. Generally, though, I strongly encourage you to ask questions because this is one of the things that differentiates this MOOC from other MOOCs that are out there, where it's just watching videos and it's fairly one-way and fairly static communication. So a good rule of thumb that you should avail yourself of resources to help you become more of an expert is something that you should probably take to heart throughout your career. So this will give you a chance. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Okay, well, it doesn't look like there's any other questions. So with that, we will go ahead and wrap up. And good luck with the remainder of your evaluations. And I hope to see some of you again here in the upcoming POSA content course. Thanks very much.